Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Surprise Lethal podcast. It's a long overdue episode as well. But we're back. And with me today, we've got Richard.
Hello.
We've got Luke.
Yo, what's up?
We've got Sam.
Hi.
And making his debut, we've got Kabaine.
Hello.
So, Kabaine, how would you introduce yourself?
Some of you guys may know me, but I've only just started this season. Been playing pretty much, started to play every deck under the sun, even other people's decks like Sam's, but apart from that, yeah, it's pretty good.
It's making a pretty good debut year so far, so alongside Pia, who are like local Vanguard players of mine originally. Now they're taking Weiss by storm as well. So that's pretty cool.
Man's trying to steal my gimmick.
Yep, definitely.
So, first of all, just to quickly address the lack of content that's been put out. Pretty much, I've just been really, really busy. And I think other people have as well. And it's sort of gone to a perfect storm where we've not put out content for a long enough time that people were just like less interested in doing so. But hopefully looking to break that streak and make episodes more regular again. But anyway, we've got about 2 months worth of content to catch up on. So this hopefully shouldn't be too overwhelming, but we'll try and get through everything quite swiftly. And first of all, we're going to go with Springfest, which was about, just short of 2 months ago now. Held in Cardiff. I think, how many teams are again, Sam? Can you remember?
I think off the top of my head we had 14 teams.
14 teams.
Might have been 11, but it was one of those.
That's an interesting gap, not gonna lie. Yeah, Sam had the pleasure of judging that event.
Yep. We had 2 of us judging that we had 2 of us judging 11 to 14 teams as opposed to the 2 consistent judges we had for Vanguard, which had well over 300 total players.
I think there was 138 teams.
Something along that region. 38 might have been a bit high. Might have been like 113 or something.
Yeah, the ratios were not ideal.
Yeah, I ended up having to judge help out judge Vanguard as well, which was spooky.
Yeah. Besides that, how would you rate? Because this is your first real judge experience, right?
Yeah, that's been the first event I've actually been an official judge for. It was pretty good overall. I think personally I did a pretty good job, and everything went relatively smoothly.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job. So personally, the team of me, you, and Nick did not do so well. We went 0-2 and dropped pretty quickly. The only game we actually won was Nick's game in round 2, but it was too late at that point. Tournament was in fact won by Emily, Brandon Cooper, and James Leatherland.
They didn't win. They came second.
Oh god, no! I've horribly misinformed that.
Yeah, the team was in fact won by Joe Waddle's team.
Yeah. No, this is how long it's been. This is why we need consistent content. Yeah, that's right. So Sheffield guys won.
Though Brandon, Emily, and James won a real good streak that whole day. I think up to the finals, they had dropped 2 individual games in total.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that Brandon actually went EXO up and like throughout? But
yes.
Yeah, Brandon had gone EXO up until the finals. Actually, no, he went EXO all day because he actually won his game in finals.
Man, Abyssal's breaky end, man.
That's a throwback.
Who'd have thought Guy Climax
man.
was so effective?
Yeah, I think James was even using Kabaine's deck.
Yes, he was using. Well, it was his deck, but it was my card.
Yeah, he actually used GGO, but since his GGO is in Japanese and Kabaine happens to have it in English, we managed to borrow.
I'm not gonna lie, like with him messaging me and us going through the deck theory crafting from seeing like other GGO decks, it was actually quite interesting to see like his take on it and how he went with it, because I would definitely say it was a bit unexpected compared to other decks.
Yeah, James has definitely gone through a lot of different builds for GGO since its release.
The winning team, if I'm not mistaken, was Titan, Sword Art, and Sunshine, right?
I believe so. I can't quite remember.
It's a pretty expected lineup. I'm pretty sure that was what it was. So yeah, fair play. They didn't make any mistakes all day, I imagine.
Yeah,
Not enough to constitute losing the tournament.
the deck representation on Brandon's team was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, Emily used Cinderella Girls as well, right?
Yeah, we had Cinderella Girls, Abyssals, and GGO of all the three things that could have gotten second place.
And a nice little bump for some English Idolmaster rep, which is nice.
Yeah, there were quite a few sets that I was kind of expecting and didn't see. We had quite a high representation of AOT, both core and I think there was a Titans player as well. We had quite a bit of ReZero from a couple of people. Sunshine had a few showing up. Sao had a couple showing up. GGO, I believe, was the only one of itself being used.
So there's another Cinderella Girls player as well.
Oh yeah, Cinderella Girls was also one of, as was Abyssals.
Oh, nice. So they were like literally.
They were a team of
Oh,
one-offs.
Nice. Yeah, using AOT myself, I was most spooked by the Card Captor Sakura matchup, which I ended up actually hitting twice in a row in slot B, which is kind of unfortunate for me, I guess.
Card Captors did have quite a high representation there.
I think justifiably, because I think it's like actually pretty underrated as an English series. I think that's fair to say, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. In an effort of being swift, I guess we'll move on to Spring Press now, unless everyone else has something to recollect. I imagine if Peter were here, he'd have some stories to share.
Yeah, well, I do technically have one story about how our team went from being 0-2 to 5-3 because one of our teammates started getting drunk.
Yeah, Kabaine's playing Vanguard, by the way.
Yeah, so at the start of the day, I think I was like 1-1, and my two friends were 0-2. One of our teammates went to the bar, decided to get 3 ciders, and he ended the day with 5-3 under his belt. It was crazy, funny, but still.
This, my friends, the states of standard Vanguard.
You have to get plastered to get some wins.
Exactly.
But this isn't a Vanguard podcast, so we shall move on now. War Games episode 6. This starts the horrible streak, by the way, of me going 0-2 at each tournament by just yeah. So how many of us were there? Kabaine was definitely there.
Hello.
I think Sam and Luke were both there.
Yeah, I was there.
So I guess by day will be pretty quick, so I'll get underway. I used Idolmaster Million Life. I lost 2 games very quickly, and I dropped and went home.
Who was one of the games you lost to, Brandon?
Yeah, one of the games I lost to was to you, Luke. And what were you using?
I was using Clanad.
Yeah.
That Million Life top tier, man. Million Life top tier deck, man.
It is.
But it lost to Clanad,
as we'll talk about later. Wink, wink. Does
this mean Clanad is top tier?
I don't know, but it's probably the best time to play Clanad in a long time, at least.
Probably.
Yeah, also the fact that, well, I guess you may as well say that you got top 8 with it.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. And also Donald used Clanad and he got 9th with it, so
yep.
That's kind of
Clanad new meta, man. I'm working on reinvigorating the build as we speak.
What about your day, Sam?
Episode 6. I can't quite remember what I used that day. I believe I was using ReZero.
as a refresher, you were using ReZero. I'm not sure what your record was, but you finished 15th.
Yeah, I think that was just one of those days where you're playing properly, but the games just don't go your way. You definitely know about that, given how your day went that day.
Yeah. Oh, how my days have gone a lot lately.
Yeah, I've noticed I've had a lot of tournaments recently where I've been using ReZero, and it just doesn't seem to pull off the games it used to. I don't know if that's a meta thing or what, or if it's just a streak of bad luck with it.
So, to show how top heavy the meta is at the moment in Sword Art reasons, if you read up from top 4, you got 4th place, Matt Mead, Sword Art Online. 3rd place, Ewan, Sword Art Online. 2nd place, Peter, Sword Art Online. But who is the one to stand up of them all, Kabaine?
Yeah, that was a pretty fun day. I really enjoyed it, to be fair. So
go on, tell us about your day.
So I ended up playing Review Starlight, which wasn't it literally the week after we got the case?
It might have even been a few days after.
Yeah, it was something like that. I played quite a few games on tabletop where I originally was going to play, I believe it was Red Blue into the Karen Himari combo, where you would basically use the Karen to burn, and then on Encore burn an additional one and have Bodyguard for the Himari. But then we ended up building 8-wind yellow aggro, which I feel is a lot easier to play compared to both of them, because you're not really caring too much. You're pretty much going and just aggroing and seeing if you can win.
Yeah, you don't really have a shortage of resources should you draw your level 1 climax.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you have a pretty good ceiling for your level 3 finisher with the Kawaruko.
Mm. Yeah. It was like a lot of the games ended up with pretty much level 0 to level 2 being pretty even, and then I ended up cancelling quite a lot, and it pretty much, just due to the nature of the aggro element of it, was able to deal the additional burn damage that was there just to basically seal off the game. The one game that I feel that was kind of even and was weird was the game that I had against Catherine, and that was a bit different because it ended up with me, well, her overpaying resources, and due to obviously wind triggers and the effect of Karako to bounce a unit, I was able to bounce away and anti-change a couple of the things that she was like threatening to keep on the board, like
Catherine
3-2
card cover Sakura, of course.
Yeah. Like the 3-2 Sakura. I think it was Siege or the Clock Kick one. It was
I
one
think
of
she
them.
was running both.
Okay.
Siege is actually the blue one. I think she was running Cord and Reflect.
Okay. I believe it was like 2 records, and I anti-changed one and then bounced the other one, and she just didn't have any resources to play either of any of those or the change.
Just trigger wind.
Yeah, I know. The other thing that I had was going into like the top 4, ended up with me obviously playing 2 Sword Art Online matchups, and they pretty much happened the exact same way between one another, which was we both went from 0 to 2, and then I ended up cancelling a bunch, and then I think it was against Peter where I got like a couple of burn 2s. He ran out of climaxes in deck and he couldn't really get them back in. Or by the end of his turn, he triggered a few climaxes, and I think he had 1 in deck when he had 14, and he was on 3-4. So that was pretty much like a win there. And then Ewan was pretty much a similar kind of thing, but it's just a bunch of burning, and the fact that from I think it was like 2-3, I ended up cancelling quite a few of his swings.
So what you're saying is you cancelled.
I cancelled.
Which is fair. It's Weiss Schwarz after all. Yeah, the rest of the tournament, it was kind of expected. The expected look in top 8. Have a lot of players chasing those top positions down, firmly in top 16 already. With the exception of Luke, who just kind of was there out of nowhere. But yeah, I think that wraps up War Games episode 6. So I can go on to Chimera episode 6. I think Chimera episode 7, sorry. That's the one. Oh boy, I wonder who won that one as well.
Hello.
Yeah, Kabaine joined me and Ewan in the winning back-to-back tournaments club, I think. You say you're pretty high up the ladder.
Yeah, got me just a few points.
The funny thing as well is he once again played Peter in the finals. So this is a story of Vanguard players who only started playing really this year, who played Vanguard at Springfest instead of Weiss, coming in and stealing everyone's points. So yeah, well, Peter used SEO again. You used something different, didn't you, Kabaine?
I actually used Sword Art Online, but Gun Gale alternative.
Fake Sword Art.
Yes.
So how did that go for you?
I think the one thing that I figured out from it is Sunshine's pretty broken, isn't it? After looking at how many games was pretty much triple early play, heal to stock, and then just do a bunch of burning, and then ending the game on a bunch of burns. It was all the one game, which I think was just. I think a lot of it was very even on most of the games, but the one game that I will say that I feel was an utter train wreck for both me and the opposing player was actually against Brian.
You played Brian in top 4?
Yeah, I played him as my quarterfinals, and it ended up with, I think, us playing so aggressively. I believe we both got. I think he was playing. I can't remember which deck he was playing.
I think he was playing
Rabbids.
My Sister.
He was playing Rabbids Did My Sister build. Yeah.
He. I think it was just. We ended up both getting to level 2 really early on in the game, in the first 4 turns. It was just that aggressive. I believe we had a level 1 combo at least once, but there wasn't really that much cancelling. And then it ended up with me hitting a 3 when he was at 3-7 with quite a lot of climaxes in deck.
So
sorry, 3-4, not 3-7.
So I guess you you used the trial deck level 1 combo, right?
Yes, I was originally going to use the Yun clone. The green one, as I recall.
Yeah, the bar combo, the same as the Konosuba Union.
Yeah.
But I think I talked you out of it.
Yes, you did. Partly because 1, I didn't have all 4, and 2, I can understand why in a current meta in JP, where it's a bit more, where you don't really have as many reversers or easy targets to reverse, from what I've noticed. But we'll get onto that later.
I guess so. Yeah, it's like a safer combo. You don't really need the extra stock. Since your triple A player of Altair is actually quite good on resources, you'd rather have the hand to play them than the stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the 8 gate will helps you out with resourcing in hand as well.
So I guess in your game with Brian, you hit level 2 fast, but whereas Brian's deck wants to sit at level 1 for a bit long, your deck probably wants to hit 2 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I ended up double early playing him because I believe we rushed so hard through that game that I didn't actually have enough stock to pay for all 3 of them, even with the drop on the heal to stock.
That's still though, double early play is something a lot of decks would love to have. And yeah, still really cost efficient. Yeah,
definitely.
Sam, is this the line you ever used Godzilla?
Sorry?
Is this the last time you ever used Godzilla?
Oh, did I use Godzilla that day?
Yes,
oh,
you did.
right, I did. I went in there intending to play Godzilla, intending to play ReZero, and then as I was on the sign-up sheet, I literally typed in the letter. I wrote down the letters RE, and then Peter went, "Yo, use Godzilla." So I crossed out ReZero and put Godzilla instead.
That's Pete Hadler's tactics to weaken
Peter
the competition.
literally just went play Godzilla, and I made that mistake.
He's such a convincing man.
How did I even go that day? I can't remember. Well, what place did I come?
18th of 21 players.
Sounds about right.
Looks like
that was
not a good
that
sequence.
Was me
of
trying out the updated version as well. I realized where Godzilla was going wrong. Ever since I changed from the TD combo to the Vulture level 1s. I was missing out all the extra mill I had, so I wasn't gaining all my compression as fast as I should have been. And that was like really punishing. But putting in the TD combos makes the deck so much more high roll. And I don't know if the deck's just not good. I had that one lucky win, but literally you can see my progression with it. Ever since I got that win with it, I've gotten worse and worse results. And I think you just need to bite the bullet, stick with the vultures, deal with the lack of compression, and just maybe get them consistency wins rather than the high rolls. Because they both lose to the exact same stuff anyway, so... But yeah, I don't plan on using Godzilla again for a long time if possible.
This didn't stop you from shoving it on Kabaine in the future, though. But we'll get to that pretty soon.
God damn it.
Hey, Richard.
Yo.
Yo. You were 10th in this day.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember much about this.
That's fine. Can you remember any individual games at least?
I'm pretty sure I seen Brian in top 8 and my deck just fell apart. That's probably all I can remember.
I mean, you didn't make top 8 in this day.
No, what am I on about? It final round.
Oh, yeah. So Brian was the 3rd seed, so I guess he was X1 anyway. So I guess that was kind of a win in the sounds of it.
Maybe I'm thinking of some other day. I honestly don't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fair enough. Oh, if the standard for a good tournament now is make top cut, coming just short at 10 is a bit unfortunate. But yeah,
it's not too bad. It's replacing like really bad scores at the moment because I only get to like basically one event an episode, so it's just getting rid of those really bad ones. I'm pretty sure I had like a 900 pointer that just needed to disappear.
Yeah. Oh, this is kind of setting you in a decent enough position to hit the top 16 at the moment. So
fingers crossed. Anyway, I still need to sort of seal the 8th episode just to make sure, but let's hope.
Yeah. I guess the other thing this is almost a month after the previous league tournament in MK. Which is a pretty long gap for people to experiment with new decks and everything. I think it's somewhere between the last tournament where there was no Goblin Slayer and this tournament where people started realizing that Goblin Slayer is a very scary deck. And it's something we'll talk about more later when we go over like the current meta. But there were a couple of Goblin Slayers that did pretty well. And I think there were even some decks that were picked pretty much just to beat Goblin Slayer. Like, I know John was talking about how his choice to use Logic was influenced by this.
Wasn't this the one that you played Red Poyo?
This is a month prior that I played Red Poyo. I didn't actually go to this month.
Never mind then.
Yeah, that was me anticipating Goblin Slayer and then just not hitting it. I think I was just a bit too early. Yeah. Besides that, this is what another talking point we're gonna have later about how effective Sword Art Online will be now. Even though Peter did come second with Sword Art in this tournament, we see a lot of we see Ewan finishing 14th with Sword Art, which is unusual the way the year's gone. And we see a lot of decks focusing on like winning at level 2, being quite successful. Like we saw Kabaine win with Gun Gale, for example. We saw James Leatherland make top 4 with Gun Gale.
Sal sucks.
Curious, Sal did win that tournament, right? Just the other kind of Sal.
Yeah, even in its maybe not so favored state, SEO was written in top 4 3 times. 2 of them just not being the Yuki-san we're used to.
I still don't get it. I just don't understand Sal. I don't know.
I guess we could talk about this a bit later.
I just don't get it, man. I don't think it's that good.
We'll save this for now.
We can save it.
We'll move on to War Games episode 7, which is the most recent tournament we've had. So for myself and Sam and Kabaine, it should all be fairly fresh in our memory.
Oh god, I'm getting flashbacks.
So, I say it's fresh in my memory for what I was. I pretty much swapped decks with Ewan for this tournament. I decided to give SEO a go, and Ewan decided to give my Million Live deck a go. And we had the complete opposite tournaments to the prior month, where I went OT drop once more, making it 3 times in pretty quick succession.
You're not setting a very good example for yourself, are you?
I know, it's not good. I'm blaming it on the lack of podcast episodes I'm putting out.
Okay.
And Ewan actually won with Million Life, which is a deck that was geared to beat Goblin Slayer the way I'd built it, at least. So I could talk about that at some point, I guess. Sam decided to take Goblin Slayer himself.
Yeah, I've had the set for a while, and I've been meaning to actually properly give it a go.
Some of you might remember that the last time Sam decided to bring Goblin Slayer somewhere, he forgot to swap his events correctly.
Yeah. Impromptu deck choices work when you're picking a deck that isn't proxied.
So sorry for bringing that up again, Sam. Things went better for you this time. Even if you did bubble at X1, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I bubbled at X1, and my only loss, my actual games that day went fantastic. Like, the only loss I had was the mirror against Matt Mead, and that game was a mess. We ended at time after turns because neither of us were dealing damage. We were just the mirror match sucks, basically. I realized afterwards what I should have done, but that's whatever. My build was like, I had a bit of a little tech in my deck that actually came quite in handy in my game against Ben. Well, I'll say it came handy. It would have came in handy afterwards. I include a one-off of the Heal 5 event and the Sword Maiden that bonds to it. And for anyone who doesn't know, it's a 3/5, sack a Sword Maiden, sack a Priestess, heal 5.
It's like discard them, right?
No, it's sack.
Okay.
And against Ben, who was playing, I think he was playing TLR that day, I ended up in a situation where I wasn't going to be able to do any more Priestesses, and I kind of needed to try and either survive or kill him that turn. Had the event ready, just went for it. Ended up killing him that turn anyway, but that did put me in a pretty comfortable position for it. And I'm quite happy with the addition. I'm reconsidering the bounce event though.
Yeah, the other Goblin Slayer in the room, being Matt Mead, also went 3-1, but finished in top 4. It's the interesting thing is the bottom 3 finishes for this tournament from the 13 players were, of course, me with SAO and Raul and Jim with Summer Pockets, with none of those series repeated anywhere above. So these decks that have been like considered pretty scary for a while. They're kind of getting overthrown a bit, I guess.
I don't know if they're getting overthrown in a sense. I think that people are starting to figure out how to deal with it.
I think it's kind of an adverse effect where Goblin Slayer's doing this typical, early players are a threat again. People play around early players. People make a big deal about level 2. So Sao and Summer Pockets both don't like it when people have good level 2s. So this is the tournament where you've tortured Kabaine and ended his win streak.
Oh god,
Finally.
I don't know where to begin with this.
After so long of getting Peter to use this deck, and him wussing out every time, I am calling him out on this. Kabaine finally took the challenge and used my Mecha Godzilla.
2 weeks of practice, man.
2 weeks of practice, only for me to discover the night before you'd been playing half the cards wrong.
That's very true.
It's when we were doing our test games and you played the level 0 and you go, discard, search for the level 0 mecha, and I'm like, no. It's salvage.
Yeah, that was
at least you actually played everything correctly on the day.
Yeah. Where do I begin with this? The first thing that I have to say is that thing that I was playing, that wasn't a deck. That was a mistake.
It was a cry for help.
It really was.
As you said.
It was a cry for help, in my opinion. I'll say that it's very obvious, like how to play it, but I think it's kind of interesting coming from a lot of decks which are a bit more focused around resourcing in terms of hand and hand and compression and not worrying too much about the stock kind of game. It's kind of interesting to play a deck which is a bit more focused on obviously hand and also thinking about, do I have to pay 3 to keep this guy alive as a normal encore? Because that's something I never think about.
It's been spoiled by playing decks like Con and Seaver and Bangjing, where you haven't really had to think too hard about resources.
And then you get Mecha Godzilla, where your stock means almost nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. But I will say I'm pretty happy with how I did during the day as a 2-2. So
anytime I think of Mecha Godzilla, Sam, I just think of the time I played you with Rewrite and I Lucia comboed your board and you just got very upset.
Oh yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Like the hard counter, man.
The hard count. You actually ran the combo no one ever runs.
Yep. I mean, it's in the deck, man. It's gold bars, isn't it? If you see the opportunity arise like that, why would you go for it?
Yeah. Didn't help, Kabaine, that your first match of the day was against me.
Yeah. So to go through my games of that day, we had obviously the game against Sam. That was horrendous, in all honesty.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, going from like the last tournament where he played Godzilla against me and I played level 1 bombs, I guess it's like sad. It's sweet justice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
In terms of like other games, I then went against Raul, who was playing Summer Pockets, and that was pretty weird to fight against. I then went against Ed, which I was deciding between if I wanted to keep my Mechagodzilla alive to get clock kicked, or if I wanted to keep, or if I didn't want to keep him alive, but then, be confirmed to not take a damage. Obviously, it ended up with me not taking any damage and paying the 3. But it was like, due to that, I believe I won just from the fact that I was able to hit 1 3 times. Going from that game, I then ended up going against Gemma, who was also playing Summer Pockets, and this was my second win of the win of the day. Win of the day, where she played, I believe it was Wind into Standby, which is a bit like different from what I'm used to when it comes down to Summer Pockets, and it's actually interesting to see.
As you were typically used to seeing Gate and Bar build, just because
Yeah.
you're practicing a lot with the
Yeah.
probably the wrong people.
Obviously, the main trouble with the game that I had with that was she plays out the 2-1, and my guys can only get so big.
I'm amazed that both of your wins that day were against Summer Pockets.
Yeah, no, one of my wins was against Summer Pockets. One of them was against Ed playing Sakura. The reason I beat Gemma is because I was able to get the Burn 4 and the Burn 5 from both different Godzillas off at the same turn, as well as a normal swing. So it was like 5 different instances of just large damage, which is kind of interesting. And she had like 1 climax in deck by the end of it. So it pretty much ended up with my 5 sticking and that being the game.
That's pretty big, yikes.
Mm.
Burn 5's the magic number.
I know. It's a good number.
5 always cancels. Unless
Except
the
when it
year
doesn't.
is 2015. Anyways, it's the sort of the rest of the tournament. League plays second with Kadakawa. Do you guys play Lee at all during the day?
Nope.
Nice.
I also dodged him all day.
It's quite impressive to see that Kadakawa because the hype kind of died off very quickly, I feel.
I certainly hadn't heard much from it after that initial hype moment. Then again, I wasn't at most of the tournaments this year, but
Yeah.
The thing I noticed with his Kadakawa build is he went quite different to what he normally usually goes for. Before he was running the Strike Witches level 1 combo into the Rabbit level 3.
Mm.
This time he scrapped both of those combos and ended up he was running the Iris level 3. I can't quite remember what he had at 1 this time. In my head I'm thinking Standby, but I don't think it was Standby.
It's funny because I was also thinking it might be Standby, but I can't remember for sure because I was only there for about an hour.
Yeah, I mean it might have been Standby actually, but I'm not 100% confident.
In any case, Brian, I think, went 2-2 with Rabbits. I saw the Summer Pockets were kind of low down in the end. Wind Rabbits is probably the deck to pick to beat Summer Pockets. Yeah, the fact that both Lee and Matt made top 4 does not help my chances personally, since these other two I'm kind of fighting with for an extra automatic invite slot. And Emily managed to place top 4 with ReZero as well. ReZero is still just consistent and good.
What was she using that day? Like build wise?
She was using a bunch of red. I believe it. I can't remember the name of that character in particular. The girl with the pink hair.
I'm pretty sure it was actually Book Gate with the Bessie level 3, but there was probably some random Ram tech thrown in there, from the sounds of it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the EuroLeague events recently. So the way the ladder stands at the moment is pretty interesting. They're looking at it. Currently, Ewan is in a very good position to potentially hit first in Europe, which would get the UK an extra invite. He's only really ahead. He's only really behind this Spanish guy, whose name I won't bother trying to pronounce because that would just be kind of embarrassing. But this Spanish player actually has a couple more episodes to play to improve some scores. So it'll be interesting to see how those tournaments go. But chasing Ewan, the closest player was Christophe Chan from France, who has actually he's only played at one locals all year, and he's now played all 8 episodes at that locals, and he's behind Ewan. So that'll be an interesting look to look at. Brian sits in second, but unfortunately for Brian, he's had to go back to Hong Kong, so he'll be missing out the rest of the year.
Can we dedicate this episode of the podcast to Brian?
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Want to give a big shout out to Brian because he will be missed.
Everyone
Yeah,
loved him.
Definitely.
It's going to take
We
the
make it sound as
the,
if he fucking died.
It's going to take the Hong Kong scene by storm.
Oh. But the fact that Brian
He's
will
one
be
to watch for, man.
the fact that Brian will be able to pass down his invite.
Do Hong Kong get an invite to Worlds?
Yeah, they
Like,
do.
do
I'm
they
pretty
have
sure.
a scene?
They have a WGP. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, I'm expecting to see Brian there.
Yeah, the fact that Brian's EuroLeague invite will be passed down, and there'll be probably one, if two, if Ewan manages the top Europe slots. Is closest between Matt Mead on about 16,600 points. Lee on 16.0 and me on 15.4.
What about me?
I'm sorry, Luke. I'm
Turn
scrolling
up to
down a
some
lot. I can't
tournaments and
see.
we'll let you
You can't see me. But I haven't been to so many tournaments. Look at all the scores I'm gonna think about it, man.
The way the rest of the ladder's looking, as it stands, the extra shop ladder invites should go to the stores in London, Newcastle, and Edinburgh. Which I'm pretty sure as it stands is Mervyn, Lauren, and Ethan. So for the rest of it should be the following. Is that 16? There's 3 slots, so the following 13 players. So everyone up to probably about 13th is pretty much safe for an invite. But the interesting fight between in the area of Brandon, Cooper, Richard, Catherine, Jonathan,
And me.
Yeah.
know.
So Richard, what do you think about that?
It's been a weird season for me. I'm really average.
Yeah.
Like literally every single one of my tournaments, I'm either close to top 8 or in top 8. But it just seems like I need that bit more to just keep myself in the top. But as I say, with the next round is going to replace a pretty bad score. Well, fingers crossed. I say that like it's guaranteed, but so I'm hoping that might push me up a bit.
Man, you've got to start thinking like me, man. Everything's guaranteed.
It's one other thing worth noting is Sean Nicholson of Newcastle is actually in 23rd right now. But this is having only played 4 episodes worth of tournaments, so he could potentially show up to take one of the slots as well. Yeah, I think that's kind of the rest of the league season summed up in terms of where to look for the ladder. There's very minimal tour left. There's in fact 6 left. 2 in Newcastle, week after week. 1 in Edinburgh, 1 in Milton Keynes, 1 in London, and 1 in Chimera. So it's very tight at the moment.
It's going to be difficult for me, man.
I agree.
So moving on from EuroLeague, I think it's time to talk about card reveals.
All right. Let's start with Jojo, because that's something I know.
All right, we'll start with Jojo. It's only had a couple cards revealed.
Yes, it'll be pretty quick.
I guess actually very, very quickly before we actually talk about the Jojo cards. There's a question about whether it will be legal or not. And in the US, they've stated that it's going to be legal after a certain date. I honestly can't remember the date.
Oh, brilliant! Hopefully that comes down to the UK at some point. And
Yeah,
Europe.
it should. It should, in theory, translate the same as Europe as well. I'm pretty sure the restriction list for licensing reasons have all been the same. So JoJo
actually really happy
should
about
be
that.
legal for Europe, which is
which means I didn't lose my deck. Shocker.
But yeah, the few JoJo cards that have been revealed. Do you want to talk about them, Luke?
Yeah. So initially we had like Golden Experience Requiem and the Giorno that goes with it. Looks like it's probably going to be the finisher of the set. I kind of hope it isn't, but you know, I mean, not because it's bad, but because I'm not a huge fan of Giorno. Yeah, it's the encore step, burn one twice. It's like a weird encore step Chino Kokua sort of thing. It's very doable to get it off from what I remember.
It's like pay 3, right?
Yeah, it's like pay 3, but to get 2 of it off is like very doable because like you're getting the 3 attacks out because it's encore step. So I feel like you can easily make it work. Like you can at least get double of it out. The other like notable card that got revealed was King Crimson, which is this really bizarre pseudo like anti-damage sort of card where
Mad flavorful.
the cost is like
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
It's like the cost is really heavy.
Isn't it pay 4 when your opponent attacks? Basically, stop that attack completely.
Is it just pay 4?
It
I
might be
believe
like
it's
pay
just
four,
pay 4.
drop 3.
Discard 3 trait card.
Oh,
Discard
really?
3,
Jesus,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's discard 3. But it not only does it like the wording is it actually like proceed to next attack step, like proceed to the next attack in the attack phase. So they don't get their trigger, they don't get their stock as a result of that. They do get their on attack effects, sadly, but they don't get like the whole attack, the reverse. They don't get any of that. So he kind of skips like the whole, which is we haven't seen that before. And the reason I think it's like it can be better than anti-damage is because the fact that they don't get their stock means that you can really throw some stock intensive combos like out of the window there. Because like if they're relying, say for example, on getting enough stock through attacks to do a restand or something, stopping them from getting that stock is huge. You could mitigate so much damage, but it's I feel like that card is definitely a tech card. It's not something you work towards like getting out. It's a sort of card where you probably put it in the deck in case there's like based on the meta and based on what threats exist in the meta that it might counter. Because otherwise it just doesn't seem like there's much point running it. You're probably better off just saving your stock for like a more, you know, well, saving your cards and your stock for like Giorno at the end, I guess. Probably. Yeah, we haven't really had much JoJo. Obviously, there's the 2 ones that change into those cards, but they're not very exciting, so it's probably not worth talking about them.
So TLDR, both cards having pretty expensive costs. One being pretty good finisher,
Yeah.
the other being a pretty good defensive option.
Yeah, and that's just 2 cards out of the set. So surprisingly, I have a significant amount of hope for this set now because given like a decently strong finisher already, that's usually the first thing you want to see in a set. Is like a finisher that you can actually, or so either a finisher or a defensive option that makes you go, yeah, this set can win games. I think that Giorno already is something that says, yeah, this can win games. All we're looking for now is a level 1 combo to go alongside that, or like a core, I guess, that, you know, an engine to fuel that combo at the end. And considering we've had like 4 or 5 cards revealed and not much more outside of the TD, I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes out because hopefully it's not a bad set at all, which is what we all thought it was going to be. But I mean, if you look at the card quality that we've seen so far, it's already like completely eclipsed stuff like Steins Gate and Gurren Lagann, which is more of what we were expecting from JoJo, right? So
No, they just put down Batman Ninja.
Just because cards are quite expensive in their cost.
I don't even
Um,
think it's that expensive, like Golden Experience Requiem. Like Pay 3 is expensive, but the fact that it's the encore step is huge.
I also want to shout out to the flavor of Golden Experience Requiem.
I was literally about to say that.
Destroying King Crimson.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter if you skip the attack, you still lose your burns in the encore step.
It might matter if you're relying on the stock, but
Yeah.
other than that, you know.
Anyway, we'll move on now to the Japanese card Captain Sakura.
Okay.
Oh, it's already way better.
Yeah. Before you like mention the Sakura really quickly, one thing I would like to say is I'd like to say how like flavorful the JoJo set actually is in terms of like the stand user kind of thing. I really like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving to Sakura.
So for the longest time, up while they're revealing the level 3 finisher, which is pretty good, it's like kind of comparable to Yukina, which is nice. The whole time I was saying it's still worse than English Sakura because it doesn't have a good level 1. And then pretty much the last reveal was a better level 1 than all of English Sakura got. So that's kind of sad. It's just strictly better English Sakura.
It's kind of expected though.
Well,
like let's be honest, man. We all knew it was coming.
I guess one thing that I didn't put in the bucket that I should really be talking about now is because I was about to build into like how disappointed I was about the English exclusive sets quality and how reserved they are. But I guess I haven't put a bit about Batman Ninja.
No, we don't need to talk about that. We're a Japanese exclusive podcast, Brandon.
Well, Batman Ninja is legal in WG, so
Done.
Just wait until.
Wait, hang on.
JP
Wait,
as well.
I actually have a question about that.
Go on.
So WGP is a Japanese tournament.
Yeah.
So it abides by a Japanese ban
I know
list,
exactly what you're going with because Batman actually asked me the same
Batman
thing.
Ninja is on the English ban list, not the Japanese one. How does that work?
So I'm pretty sure the Heart of the Cards for the US specified that the English exclusive sets must abide by the English ban list.
Right, okay.
But as it stands, EuroLeague hasn't made a comment on it, and I'm getting Diego to because it's just kind of unexpected, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be solved quickly. In any case, yeah. For anyone that's been hiding, there was a pretty poor design mistake that let you use a level 0 Grodd to cheat out the demo deck healer for free. Well, not free, for just one stock, even at level 0.
Yeah.
Caused the whole thing.
But the thing is, it caused more than just a whole thing, because there were people there was two schools of thought that people had on this card, right? And it was either, this is bad anyway, because just side Lamau, or man, this is absolutely broken. And even among us, we had like this massive, like there's so many, like you were either one or the other. There was just those two schools of thought basically, which was interesting to me. Like two extremes almost. Like it wasn't really a middle ground.
It's certainly a dark hole of a discussion, so we'll try and stray away from that quickly.
It's not one I'm going to get back into.
Yeah. We're not going to get into that, but I just found it interesting that that both schools of thought were just like polar opposite, which was weird.
As for the rest of the set, it's kind of average, which is what I was going on about with how conservative Bush should have been with their set design. But oh well. Yeah, I guess the standout cards being like some pretty much like the early game weapon and the Harley Quinn level 3 finisher, which requires you to mix up some traits. If you want to use both together, it's a bit weird. Yeah, moving on from that, I'll go to Kantai next. I don't know how many of you actually looked at Kantai, but I've had some.
The main thing that I know about Kantai is America. I really like America.
So, the original go-to thought with Kantai would be the Nelson Touch, which I think a lot of Japanese players have like looked at the build for. But I think it's actually kind of a trap. I don't know if you guys know what it does.
Nope.
All right, so it's basically a level 3. It says when climax is placed, if this is in front row and you have 4 more others, pay 3, rest this to replay Nelson Touch. And the replay is all your front row characters get the following effect. Beginning of attack phase, deal X damage, X is equal to the soul of this character. So
Right.
this is
Oh,
what
I
most
think I
people
do know
do.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of costly, but you get a lot of instances of damage. If you're stacking them on top of like Musashis, you get multiple
With
instances to get the
Musashi, that
Musashi
is
swing
quite
for.
good. But
But yeah, most people like this is blue as well, so people are having to like throw in blue.
oh no, blue's the worst color, man.
They introduced a level 1 Magro combo. It's kind of strange. It's like it changes into a 1/1 if it's still alive, but then it's only a 104k. So if you're hitting 1 second, you kind of have to slide with it, and it's a bit awkward. Yeah, it's not ideal. This is the trap that I think a lot of players would fall into at first. But what is, in my opinion, Loki the best build from this is 8 stock saw, where you use Prince, because Prince is still good, into the Gotland level 3 combo.
Where have I heard 8 stock soul before?
This is just a coincidence, my guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Just
because
a
I mean, you obviously know Prince. Prince is still good.
Yeah, Prince is still good.
Yeah, and do you know what the Gotland level 3 combo does?
No.
So it's effectively a top X. It says on attack with climax in play. Pay 2, you deal X damage. X is equal to the number of copies of this card you have out. So the point being, it's pretty consistent because low on your resources. It's if you have 2 out, it's burn 2. If you have 3 out, it's burn 3. And the fact they have built-in top X means you can both dig for your climax and also extra compass. So at least in my opinion, the deck like runs 4 compass again, which is kind of cool.
Wait, 4 compass again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my
I
opinion.
mentioned this when you showed me the list. I legit just sat there and said, "It's been a long time since I've played 4 compass in a deck."
Yeah, feels good.
Also, blue has the best card, Luke. I don't know what you're on about.
Does it?
Besides
Yeah.
that, there's a pretty decent early play. It's like a early play heal to stock. It's got the downside when it's reversed in battle, it goes to memory. So it's then inherently a 10k base. It has an act that lets it pump itself up during a turn, which is kind of whatever, but it's a solid 10k base early play. And probably the most impressive thing from the booster is it gave it a bunch of new level 0 options. Mostly interesting techs. The funny thing is, Kansai's been starved of a rest self passing brainstorm or any sort of passing brainstorm really, besides the old crawl one. And then it got 3 out once in this booster. Got a new runner option. It got a pretty cool Pina. But yeah.
You know what else got a pretty cool runner option?
What?
Symphagear.
It's a nice transaction.
It got
Transition.
another runner.
Yeah, Symphagear got another runner. I think
It's
Kabaine
like-
carried the Symphagear discussion.
I was going to say,
Oh,
it's
I
like
haven't really met
transition into Symphagear. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's not too much out at the moment to go crazy about, in my opinion. I was talking to my friend Rob, who wants to get into the game and he wants to build Symphagear. So we were looking at the new set recently to see what's coming out and what we like the look of. And going from it, really, the thing that we mainly noticed from this set is that it had a bunch of resonate cards.
Yeah, it seems to be the design aspect they're going for this time around.
Yeah, they're basically trying to make it that you resonate with a bunch of different cards from different colors. So I think they're trying to push like a 4-color archetype, but it's weird because I believe it's going to be very. If you're going to build it, there's not going to be many slots that you can really be finicky with, because they're being like, oh, you want to use it for the resonate, so you want to like show this. But I'm not the biggest fan of that personally. There have been a few cards which have come out that have a combo without the resonate, which I like a lot of. So, for example, they now have a Mocha clone in blue, which is a 3/2. I think the resonate is something like it gains some power, but you don't really care too much about that because you would probably use it for the Mocha effect. They have a Search Brainstorm, which is really nice in my opinion. I believe it's a on attack step, on climax phase, clairvoyance.
Similar to the Review Starlight one, right?
Yeah, pretty much. With pay one rest, drop 4 search. They also have a 3/2 Chris, which is it's a burn 1 3 times, but it has a lot of conditions to go for it.
Yeah.
Which is like you have to have, I think it's 4 different characters with different kind of traits or something like that on top of a pay 4 on reverse, or pay 4 on attack. If you reverse, burn 1.
Yeah.
After you burn 1 on the swing, but you're meant to obviously run it with a bunch of the other resonate cards to pump up the power of it, which is kind of a bit finicky.
I think probably saving the Symphony discussion for when more cards are revealed and we have someone who's like way more familiar with the older sets as well.
Yeah,
It's
like,
kind of awkward. When, like,
I've got
everyone
someone in
uses
mind
it.
for that.
That's probably
Yeah.
one to get Lee in
Yeah,
on.
I've got someone.
yeah, nah. I feel like looking at it, it's just it's weird. I would prefer like to see the red top end stuff. Hopefully, burn some more to see what like I prefer. But at the moment, I think a lot of it is just going to be you're going to use older kind of top ends for now.
But by the way, I like how it turned into a bit of an ASMR moment for a little bit there. I'm guessing that's really less for him, but it's quite cool. Anyway, I'll try and get through these next ones pretty quickly because we're really pressing time right now.
Yeah.
Nanaher kind of had some glue to fix it up. Got like super consistent level 3 and level 1 combos, which means the deck can just be like the same core where you like use these like pretty much uninteractive cards or the finisher to burn 2 or 4 and then run a bunch of tech around them. So
Nanahar's finally in that position where people should actually think about maybe using it.
It's kind of flown under the radar because some people were disappointed with the previous booster, but this booster like really makes it up, I think. To get a few options, like obviously the formula deck, you got the 8-shot deck, which gets like the 6-card brainstorm similar to the one Goblin Slayer got. And you still get to run like the older packages where you use for example, the decks I had in mind, you use like the same consistent core, but you use Ragnarok Breaker Hayate, or you use the Lindy and Fate early play package to bounce some stuff. Cough, Goblin Slayer, cough. But yeah, that's pretty good. And then talk about the Love Life boosters lastly.
Oh man. Yo,
I'll start with OG Love Life.
Like before you lead off into this, right? Why does Monogatari get slapped every time I build it, man? The first time I bought into Monogatari, it got slapped by the ban list. Then I try and build into Monogatari, and this ass gets like revealed from Sunshine. It's so annoying, man.
Start off with OG Love Life because Sunshine is where I want to like diverge the top into the meta discussion. But OG Love Live actually probably A tier now. I think I don't know if that's the personal bias, but it got super consistent. It got so many level 0 options that it's like actually hard to figure out what to cut. It got this 1-0 Nico stock charge combo that's like pretty much always a 6k. There's a couple like different variants for the top end.
You got gloves on a 2-0.
I don't think that's used really. the builds I was looking at in particular are ones using the Honoka finisher, which is effectively an 11k body that on attack with gate gains falling effect until the end of opponent's turn on reverse burn 1. So you can, like, if you can force opponent to crash into Honoka as well as get reverse with it, it's like a pretty like burn 1 for no cost.
That's why you use the gloves, man.
I suppose that is an option. But my original thought was just using like big counters, the costless level assist and stuff like that.
I think just having that gloves would scare me so much, though.
Mm.
Like knowing that it would be in their deck, and them using the Nico combo to get all that stock, and then going into the Honoka, I'd be going into that turn. So assuming I survive the initial reverses that comes out the Honoka, I'd be going in like, if I'm on like 3-5, 3-6, I'd be like, I'm scared, man. I'd be very scared of crashing into that thing. Even if I was like, 2k bigger, I'd be like, but the gloves, man, it's like a 4k counter, it'd be spooky.
Speaking of 4k counters, this is the original option I was thinking, because the other part of it is there's this pretty decent Hanayo early play. It's like it's a generic like early play 2 or less. It heals a music character form of deck, which is kind of unique, I guess. It's like an 11k body. But also, if it's in level, there's a 2-1, 2-5 counter that gets an extra 15. So you straight up have a 2-1, 4k counter to help the Honoka live. Get some pretty respectable numbers there.
That's pretty respectable, yeah.
The other numbers like the BB consistency deck, where you use like the Maki to give something on reverse burn 3. You have to be a bit more restrictive in your names, but that's still a pretty good deck. You have a 2-1 early that helps you set up really easily. And the whole deck's always going to be held up by the fact that it's got the Nico stock charge combo.
You've got stock swap as well.
And yeah, stock swap Fumio at level 3, like it's always had at this time. It's
stock swap Fumio is strong. That's a really powerful combo.
Then going on to Sunshine.
Now it's my turn.
I'll start off with the standby deck, because I think that's the current hype deck. That all mono guilty kiss. But yeah, I think the standby deck, 8 standby deck, will always be like underwhelming because of the lack of damage output throughout a game. Some people may argue with me for that. I don't really care. The guilty kiss deck is pretty consistent. It has like the best finisher. The Yoshiko that's like burn 1. If you have 4 more guilty kiss characters, it's got like the resonance union type effect. It's just pretty good. But the standout card really, besides that Yoshiko finisher, would be the 1-0 and 2-1 combos, which TLDR strictly better summer pockets in our opinions.
Can't believe Bushiroda's still printing that combo.
Didn't it get better as well?
It got better.
What are they doing?
It got better because they slapped on an extra 500 power and gave it the downside that they can't side attack, which isn't really too big a deal. And especially if it like actually
it searches now instead of salvages.
Oh yeah, it searches instead of salvages.
What are they doing, man?
It literally, besides that, the core is the exact same. So the build that I think a lot of people will be looking at now will be using these dire combos, but then the rest of the deck will be pretty much Guilty Kiss package, because then you have access to China Kokoa, and all you have to do is just play enough characters.
Yeah,
and a lot of the generic support level 3s also just happen to, by coincidence, be Guilty Kiss characters.
It's so grim. It's so grim. Like, you still get access to Musashi as well, because that's Guilty Kiss.
You get access to Fumi as well, because that's Guilty Kiss. You have the on-play Yoshiko bounces.
Imagine taking Summer Pockets, what makes Summer Pockets good, and putting it into a better deck than Summer Pockets, man. Like, Summer Pockets, in my opinion, Summer Pockets' downside was that its end game, no matter which end game you ran, was never that potent.
I mean,
in my opinion,
standby's pretty potent. It's just more bricky.
Standby bricks too hard. The gold bar is too meta dependent and too niche, and the gate is just bad, in my opinion.
I'm predicting this now. Once the new Sunshine set drops, and we've had a while for it to appear at some tournaments, it is going to get slapped on the ban list again straight away.
Definitely, 100%, man.
That's a hot take.
It's
I
what
don't
it
even
does.
I
But that's
don't
how
even-
they sell it, man. That's how they sell it. They print a set of Sunshine, make Sunshine busted, and then ban the cards, and then go, guys, new Sunshine set coming out, and everyone goes, yo, it's going to be playable again for another 5
And
months.
they know they can get away with it because A, it's an idle set. B, it's Sunshine, so everyone's going to buy it, regardless of if it's good or not.
Mm,
And if they make it strong because it's an idle set, then
Yeah.
more people are going to buy it who don't even like idle
and
sets.
it's their own IP as well. So they want to really push the representation of stuff like Love Live because it's free advertising for their own shows. So stuff like that will always be strong. The fact that OG Love Live is still getting support, it really says it, man.
Oh, it's the first port for like 4 years.
After they stopped doing power-up packs.
So we already like way over the estimate that I wanted to have this episode, but
Yeah.
So sorry for everyone that's like stuck with us for this long. We'll get it.
Don't
done with soon.
apologize, man. If they're still listening, they clearly enjoy the content. Everybody that didn't give a fuck, they left 5 minutes in.
Everyone that
Those
didn't
guys,
give a
man.
fuck didn't even start.
Exactly.
Mm.
All right. But anyways, we'll have a quick discussion about the current meta. And I've put on 4 points to talk about really. One of them being Sunshine, because I think it's pretty much all of us in our own little group have decided that Sunshine will be a huge threat once more.
Yep.
As we've just
definitely
been talking about, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
In which case, does this make level 2 very important with the prevalence of Goblin Slayer as well? Do you guys think?
I do think we're starting to go into a meta where level 2 becomes more important again, but I think I don't know if I even agree with what I'm about to say right now. But I don't think we've got enough sets that can focus on good level 2 game.
No, this is where you're wrong, Sam. Right.
Okay.
It's coming full circle. So we're entering a level. I think that's fair to say. Is that we're entering a meta where there's like a heavy emphasis. It was hinted at with, and Summer Pockets was the first to really go, yo, look, we can get level 2s early, and the level 2s carry us through level 2 to level 3.
I mean, I'd say P5 was the first one to start on that.
Yeah, well, even P5, you don't tri-field the Joker.
No,
You
that's
can-
usually
you can-
usually that's because of his early play
You
condition.
can like duo or tri-field the Shiraha. But regardless, we're entering this level 2 meta, right? That's what the game started with. Like, Weiss Schwarz, way back when, was originally a game where all your big finishers were at level 2, and level 3 was just, oh no, I'm about to put a bodyguard down. We're entering that, man. All those old sets are going to become relevant again.
You can actually accurately track the timeline of like the metas we've had. OG Weiss is like you're playing proper level 2s because sets have really bad level 3s usually, and no early plays existed. Then early plays started becoming more and more common, and we entered like the early play and the heal, and then we entered like the heal era.
I mean,
So
early Weiss I've heard described by some very old players, like 117k vanillas became like meta breaking because it was upgraded from 116k vanillas.
Hey man, 1-1 vanillas.
I mean,
Well,
you look at old
one-
sets like stuff like Clanad, and you look at their level 2 games. They're good level 2 games, man. Like stuff like Phantom, for fuck's sake, has it? Phantom's finish
and
at
Phantom
level
in my
1. It's
Christian
at level
podcast.
1. Phantom has a level 1
damn it.
finish, man. It's dumb. These old sets, man.
Okay. One quick. I guess Kabaine wants to say something, so I'll let you go first.
So I was gonna say it's quite funny for me because obviously I'm the newest player here.
It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, because when I started, the main decks, which I noticed, which from what I could gather when playing a deck, when making decks as well, was look at level 1. Your level 1 game is like helping you, but a lot of it's focused on level 3. That was my mindset at the time. But I find it kind of interesting how, as you said, that original Weiss was meant to be very focused on the level 2 game. How I've basically come into a meta where the level 2 game is starting to get relevant again.
welcome to OG Weiss, Kabaine.
Am I just an OG Weiss player just a few years late?
You couldn't track it because like level 3s back then, their combo effects were always stuff like gain stock or search your deck or something like that, and like every single level 3 had bodyguard up to like a certain point. Like right at the start of the game, every level 3 printed had bodyguard.
Sure, when Neo Standard didn't exist.
Which is dumb.
I guess one thing like on the metagame patterns that like, the past like couple of years going into Rome, we've had like 2017 people start taking in like 2 of anti-change bombs because people were expecting like Re-Tier and Railgun to be relevant. 2018, Healing Logic's the meta, people sticking their anti-change bombs. But while this year early plays are becoming a thing again, anti-change bombs will not be the answer. You have to be way more creative.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because like, you know, when your level 2 game consists of early playing level 3s, the counter is there, man. You just run a lot of anti-change stuff. But when your level 2 game consists of early playing level 2s at level 1 and then sitting on them at level 2, not many sets can anti-change something at level 1, man. You've got like Clanad, Gotcha Usa, which I don't think you even run the Gotcha Usa one. Maybe you do now. Maybe you do now.
This is why I think part of the reason why Dear My Sister is good. So.
Yeah. Maybe the Gotcha Usa, you don't even choose Coco anymore. Maybe you actually run the anti-change, but you like it's so limited the sets that you can actually anti-change at level 1.
Don't forget Persona 4.
I mean, Nisekoi can do it as well. Nisekoi has got the Marika anti-change.
It is, yeah. Also, like even against Goblin set where they have a more conventional early players, it's such a huge like tempo loss having to play anti-change bombs and crash them, and
for
then
no damage.
For 0 damage, and then give your opponent some chumps to direct attack with.
Yeah, it really does suck because like now the level 2 game is either you can counter it, but you throw away an entire turn as a result of trying to, because your board has no soul, or you can't counter it because I'm also level 2, so you can't anti-change me, which really sucks.
I think Goblin Slayer is sort of the nail in the coffin for everyone realizing they need to change how they deal with these certain sets now.
I just don't like where the game is right now, if I'm being honest.
I think it's in a very interesting state.
It's in an interesting state, but I don't like it.
I think this is probably the meta as a whole, not just responses to specific sets. I think the meta as a whole is probably the most thought intensive it's been for quite a while.
I agree.
I don't like it because a lot of like sets that came out in the period, like the sets that weren't super duper old that had good level 2s, and the sets that like weren't recent sets that had super duper good level 2s, you're looking at like the middle tier sets, right? It doesn't feel like they can really compete that hard anymore. You look at sets like Monogatari being on the ban list.
Luke's just very depressed about Monogatari.
You can't choose.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why
you can't choose Hanakawa, man. Because if you choose Hanakawa, you have no finisher. Like, what do you do, man? What are you actually supposed to do? And
unfortunately, you just wait for Monogatari to go off the ban list. Which I think is the nice segue to.
It's a good segue.
Yeah, to go into the fact that the ban list was recently announced to be on the it's going to be announced on the 27th to go in effect on the 1st. So the next podcast episode should largely be focused around ban list discussion. But while we've got you guys here, I want to hear some ban list predictions.
Right, I'm gonna go first.
This will be a very interesting
I
set of
dropped
views.
my predictions, which I'm currently doing the quotation marks for, because it's not predictions, it's more what I think they should do. But I think first of all, Summer Pockets, choose one of two between like Icy Tail or the Shiraha one, just to shut down Summer Pockets is like end game a little bit, because everyone's going to choose the 2-1. Just taking Icy Tail
You
away.
effectively want to ban a troll deck card.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's what Batman did with a demo deck. So, I think when I wrote these predictions, like Sunshine wasn't out, but I think I would like to see Sunshine hit, but it won't be hit at all.
Sunshine's not going to get hit until the next set.
No,
releases.
no, it won't be hit, but I'd like it to. But for now, Summer Pockets. I think Nisekoi Marika goes up to 2. Marika. Honestly, this is a hot take. Marika could go to 4, and it still wouldn't be a good deck because she has to reverse. And as we've just established, we're in a meta where the game is won at level 2 rather than at level 3. You get all the way to level 3 with Nisekoi after it's kind of middling mid game, because Nisekoi doesn't really do much in the mid game. And then you're like, sure, your level 2 game in Nisekoi is pretty serviceable because you just try field the Kasaki early play for basically no cost and just go, all right, cool. But your level 3 game now, Marika is just not as broken of a card as it was when it came out. Like, she's not big. She's really small. The amount of counters that go around, the amount of anti-damage that goes around, the amount of sat counters, there's just so much you can do to get around Marika now. And Nisekoi doesn't have enough tools to make Marika consistent enough to get off. And like, you could argue that if you put Marika to 4, it makes it easier to grab her, so you can at least get one of her off. Because you could like try field Marika, you get at least one of them off. But even then, like, sure, she's like on attack burn 1 for free, but that's not good anymore. Like, on attack burn 1 isn't good.
I think as long
Like,
as top check burn is good, on attack burn 1 for free is good.
I mean, it's decent. It's all right, but it's not good. It's not like broken. You could put Marika to 2 for sure. You could probably put Marika to 4, and Nisekoi still wouldn't see that much rep, just because it loses out too hard in the mid game. And you're not going to get more than like with a deck like Nisekoi, you're probably not getting more than 2. You can't get more than 2 Marika off. You need to hit like a god brainstorm to do that.
So going into this, I kind of had in mind we'll go quick fire ban list, and you're very passionate about Nisekoi.
I am very passionate about Nisekoi because I want to play it, but I can't because it sucks.
Right,
I'll move on though. I'll move on.
I'll go next.
Well, I mean, I got a couple more. Goblin Slayer, TD Torch to 1. Simple as, man. Just put the TD Torch down to 1. So you can run 1 TD Torch, 3 Booster Torch. It hurts it in the early game, but doesn't hurt what the deck actually does. I think that's fair. Monogatari, remove Shinobu the choice list. They don't deserve to be on there. It's not that good of a card. Monogatari's not that good of a set. Remove the anti-salvage off Kantai, because Kantai needs to change every ban list. And then just like unrestrict Da Capo, because while that combo used to be super broken, it just isn't that broken anymore. Like, it's still good, but it's not like healing like 3 quotation marks is nuts busted. Like, I think you could easily unrestrict a capo, and just you'd already if you unrestrict a capo and people spend like 8 slots running that whole thing, that's 8 slots that they're running on something that essentially just heals 3 for pay 2, which is like, okay.
Alright, moving on.
Yep.
Who's next? Sam?
I'll go next. Marika to 2. It's about time. That's on. Like, I don't think anything needs to be put. I don't think anything really needs to be put on a ban list, and I don't think anything will. I know a lot of people are always on about Goblin Slayer, and I don't think Goblin Slayer is going to get hit. But if it was going to get hit, I would say choose one between the TD Torch and the Alarm, because the whole like reason it's so potent is because those torches basically guarantee you all your priestesses. But the
Japan
priestesses
doesn't even run those.
I mean they don't, but it's still
Yeah, I
really
was
good
gonna
for other
mention.
stuff.
Not
The
everyone.
priestess is like
does
the
that.
big spook though. And
Yeah.
the priestesses lose a fair bit of value if they can't be early played. So having to choose between getting them super consistently and being able to early play them doesn't like turn off the deck completely, but at least takes its like biggest threat factor out.
I mean, I think I'd like that more than TD Torch to 1, because TD Torch to 1 hurts all the decks.
Yeah,
but it doesn't, like, as a result of hurting every deck, it doesn't hurt Priestess as much as putting the alarm on a choice list with the TD Torch.
One thing to note, and I think Brandon will mention this as well, is like due to a Japanese list, they tend to be running 8-gate, and the top 4 and the top end being the burn 1 places character on top of deck.
It's about 50-50 between Priestess and the Goblin Slayer level 3 combo. So
the Goblin Slayer I feel like is mostly
since I look at Japanese, yeah.
I think it's mostly run just for cool factor, really.
I think just because Japan will look at Japanese results and deck lists. If anything's here, it won't be Priestess. I guess my prediction is nothing will be hit, because rather than hurt the Goblin Slayer level 1 combo, which is pretty much the only thing they can hit, they'll just like force a meta to develop around it, which is fine, at least for 6 months. Maybe stuff like Cinderella Girls will come off the ban list, and that's about it.
What about Haruhi? Free Haruhi, man. Free emo swing. Free
So,
Akinari, man.
Yeah, going from my opinion, it's kind of weird, obviously being the newer player in the game, because I've never really gone through that experience of other kind of what was banned and such like that. Like, I don't remember the last thing that was banned before Batman Ninja. So I actually don't think I've played around about a time properly where a ban list came up into effect.
I guess you would just post Bang Dream ban list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's weird. Obviously, as you guys have said, Goblin Slayer, and I do think Goblin Slayer is probably going to get hit in some extent. A lot of the most logical choices would be the TD Torch, but in response to that, it's going to hurt quite a few decks in that set. I honestly don't know about the top end because it's a bit finicky about that. But
that's why I think my choose 1 or 2 is probably the best solution, because it hurts the Priestess build, but the other builds don't need hurting.
Yeah. In terms of other sets, honestly, right now, in terms of the game, I don't see anything that's like too crazy broken. But the problem with me saying that is because I come as a player who tends to be used to that. Well, like, my main deck is Passive Palace Lisa. Like, what do you expect? I'm used to a 2-1 Summer Pockets play. So
I mean, a lot of the stuff that's still on the ban list probably shouldn't be. Like, honestly, like, so even as recent as Bang Dream's ban list, I don't think the free fresh counter should be on there. Like, they almost overcompensated on that ban list. Like, the free fresh counter, I'm not sure I'd even run it if it came off in Bang Dream, to be honest. Slots are tight enough as it is. You know, you got stuff like Cordelia's Garden still on the ban list. Why? It's not
on it, though.
It's not a good enough card to be on the ban. And the promo from Chan, the robot, the hero, like, oh sure, it's a 2-soul beater at level 1, but it's in Shin-Chan. Like, what are you gonna do in Shin-Chan?
To be fair, Shin-Chan would have like Runner's Brainstorms, 1075 2 souls at 1, and then average level 3.
But it wouldn't be ran. Like,
I don't know. If you had
the release of that card wouldn't wouldn't, because it's still it's at 1 at the moment. You can run 1 copy. An extra 3 copies, you'd go for the Tri-Field, of course, but
like
it wouldn't
it's a
make
7.5
Shinchan
base, so it's already pretty bulky.
yeah.
And as a 2-soul beta, it'd be like it has the exact same effect early playing a level 3 has in terms of damage output as to why it's valuable, except you do it a level earlier.
We'll leave the Shinchan discussion for now.
Okay.
We'll actually get onto Richard's banlist prediction.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask about that.
Ironically, I was actually gonna say the Shinchan thing.
Nice.
I'm back onto the Shinchan discussion.
No. So my entire was gonna be basically, I'm not quite sure what they're gonna do with Goblin Slayer. I was gonna say Priestess to 2, but I don't think that's the right way to go about it anymore. Rest can come off probably to 1 to test it, like they did with Cordelia's Garden. Kantai can basically have everything removed apart from the Junior, of course. Is it Junior? Shit.
Yeah, Junior.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Marika to 2's fair, and I want the 2-0 event from Haruhi off.
Yeah.
What?
I don't think that.
No,
I think
not
Emo Swing.
Is it Emo Swing?
I think
Okay.
giving a set that's recently had support that extra bit of like power might just make it like more relevant. If you get what I mean, like
Yeah, Emo Swing's the anti-climax event, isn't it?
Nah,
no, Emo Swing's
Oh, am I
the
thinking of a different
+1 event.
Emo Swing does not deserve to be on the ban list. Well, Umi Yuri exists in Miku.
Yeah, I still can't believe they printed that.
Anyways, one interesting pattern here is everyone talked about Goblin Slayer, but it's worth noting that Goblin Slayer actually hasn't won a tournament in the UK yet.
It's come pretty close, quite a lot.
It sure has come close. Only a couple of times, but still, I find it quite interesting. Because it's definitely like the big spook factor, because it's probably the most unfair thing in the game right now.
Yeah, like it's weird, but I also think it's kind of a thing with obviously it being such a big threat. There's going to be a lot of decks that are going to be playing around it. So, for example, like Goblin Slayer has quite a big thing in the meta that people are playing things like Million Life or things that are quite like to burn a lot, just to get over the idea of the -2 soul, or like -3 soul. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the only reason it hasn't topped a UK event yet is because people that like a lot of the tournaments it's appearing at have quite a high rate of people who are playing things that counter it.
Yeah, everyone's very quick to try and play around it. Okay, I think this is a pretty good wrap-up point now. Thanks if you've stuck with us for this long. We really appreciate it, and we'll be aiming to put out more episodes that will be way more concise than this.
He's lying.
Don't. I mean, I can say we'll be aiming to. And that is true.
Just say this is like
We'll be aiming to is not binding in any way.
Exactly.
It's not legally binding.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Like,
Thanks for joining me, guys. Anyway, are you gonna say something?
we just say like this is a near end of season kind of special podcast, right?
Yeah, it's coming.
Christmas special, man. Christmas special.
Early Christmas, even though Bushido tried to ban it.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.